From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson. Usually you hear my friend Hector Bosa over the phone. We're going to see if we can try and track him down on the phone in the next few moments. So in the meantime, we want to let you know that you can check us out both on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also see us on YouTube as well. And if you want, you can also contact us through Snapchat and Instagram. Now, as far as what's going on in the latest in sports, well, unfortunately, someone wound up getting their walking papers over the weekend, and it turned out to be the least likely candidate. It was Kenny Atkinson, who wound up getting fired from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, there is some stuff out there as to why Atkinson was fired. Now, we all thought of him as a player's coach, to be honest with you. And as it turns out, one of the reasons why he wound up being fired was because he had reservations about coaching Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. He coached Kyrie Irving this year, and no one saw any conflict between those two. And to be quite honest with you, it's gotten to the point where the role of the head coach in the NHL, the NFL, and the NBA, and the manager in baseball has changed dramatically from years past. Years past, it used to be that these guys would be able to keep their jobs for a long time, but now it's gotten to the point where only a select few have been able to last long in their particular job. The reason why Kenny Atkinson wound up getting fired is because supposedly he wanted nothing to do with having to coach Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving anymore. First off, Kenny Atkinson has got to be better than this, and he has to be a bigger man than this. Second of all, could it be that maybe Atkinson was a little bit scared of both KD and Kyrie? I mean, think about it. Kevin Durant is a very high-maintenance guy. And everybody knows about Kyrie Irving and his notorious behavior. It's gotten to the point where, like I said, that the role of the head coach or the manager in baseball has really changed in the last 50 or 60 years or so. Now it's gotten to the point where all of these leagues have basically turned into players-run leagues. And seeing what's going on with the contract negotiations between the NFL players and the owners, don't be surprised if you see a work stoppage in the NFL within the next year or so. The big problem in the NFL right now is the owners are trying to put together an 18-game season. The players don't want to play 18 games in a season. They want to stick with 16. 16 games is tough enough as it is. There was a time when the players used to play 10 games, then 12, then 14. But now it's 16. And this possible 18-game season has really divided both sides. So there's going to have to be some kind of resolution that's going to have to take place between both sides right now. Now, as far as what's going on with teams and their players. We do know that Red Ellison wound up retiring. Ellison wound up playing 10 games with the Giants this past season. And he bounced around a little bit in the NFL. And also, we just learned that Christian Yelich wound up getting the biggest contract in baseball right now. A contract that might take him to age 50. He had already been under contract for several years, but now he wound up getting re-signed for the next 9 years upon the few amount of years that he has remaining in his current deal. Now, as far as what's going on elsewhere, unfortunately, the big story surrounding all leagues is the coronavirus. Well, as it turns out, the NHL has announced that the media is not going to be allowed to enter the players' locker room for fear of possibly contracting coronavirus. The players will be made available outside the locker room. This much is true, but there will not be any media access to any of the locker rooms of any of the 30 teams in the NHL right now. As far as what else is going on, as it turns out, it's not just the NHL. The NBA, Major League Baseball, and Major League Soccer all have announced that they are closing locker rooms to the media because of the outbreak of coronavirus. Now, we mentioned Christian Yelich's contract from before. One other guy who might be looking at a very big payday is Francisco Lindor. He's made it clear that he wants to focus on 2020. Of course he does. But there's still the issue of him possibly leaving at the end of the season. We're not really sure what the Indians' thinking is, whether they want to keep him or whether they want to re-sign him. So it looks like we're going to have to wait and see what happens before anything else. Now, as far as what's going on in the games themselves, the Devils dealt the Rangers a really big blow over the weekend with a 6-3 victory at the Garden this past Saturday night. So it's looking more and more like the Devils are going to have to play the role of spoiler the rest of the way. As far as the Islanders are concerned, the Islanders suffered a big blow of their own because they wound up losing it in overtime to the Carolina Hurricanes. So now the Islanders are going to have to try and bounce back. They've got a big road trip that they have coming up. They have to go to Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and then Pittsburgh. And then they come home for one game against Calgary, and then a couple of road games with Toronto and New Jersey, which means 6 of their next 7 games are going to be on the road. And this is already a tough thing that the Isles have going for them right now. Right now, the Islanders have fallen into a tie for that last playoff spot with the Carolina Hurricanes, which makes Saturday's game, this past Saturday's game, all the more disappointing. Now we've seen a real change in how the playoff races have taken place. It could be that the Islanders may go from 7th place to no playoffs at all if they don't shape themselves up. Right now, it's the Bruins, the Capitals, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Flyers, the Penguins, the Maple Leafs, the Blue Jackets, and as of right now, the Hurricanes, who have spots 1 through 8 already occupied. That's in the East. The West would have St. Louis, Vegas, Colorado, Edmonton, Dallas, Calgary, Minnesota, and there's a three-way tie for that final spot out west between Vancouver, Nashville, and Winnipeg. These last 3 weeks are going to be really, really interesting to watch. Now, as far as the NBA is concerned, after seeing Kenny Atkinson get fired, let's give the Nets some credit for actually keeping their mind on the court right now. The Nets came away with a big, big win against a team that, quite frankly, they should have beaten, and that's the Bulls. So the Nets, at this moment, currently have 7th place in the Eastern Conference by just half a game over Orlando. Right now, Milwaukee and Toronto are the first 2 teams in the East that have clinched playoff spots. After that, it's Boston, Miami, Indiana, Philly, Brooklyn, and Orlando, who have spots 3 through 8. Now, out west, just yesterday, the Lakers wound up winning the 3rd edition in the Battle of Los Angeles over the Clippers yesterday. So right now, the Lakers have the top spot in the Western Conference, followed by the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Jazz, Thunder, Rockets, Mavericks, and Memphis Grizzlies. And all of a sudden, there are 2 teams that are starting to creep, actually 3 teams that are starting to creep up on the Grizzlies. It's the Pelicans, who now have a healthy Zion Williamson, the Sacramento Kings, and also the Portland Trail Blazers. Only 4.5 games separate 4 teams from getting that last spot. As far as what's next for the Nets, well, tomorrow it's the Nets and the Lakers. And if I'm not mistaken, the game is going to be played in Los Angeles. So the Nets are going to start a big road trip coming up for them. Let's see how this road trip goes for the Nets. Let's see. They actually have to go out west to California for the next 4 games. They have the Lakers, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Kings. Not really sure why they would have the Nets go from Southern California to Northern California for the next 3 days. But I guess that's just how the schedule makers do it. As for the Knicks, well, they're still a joke, in spite of the victory that they got yesterday. Now, as far as what's going to happen with them, the Knicks mercifully have 18 games left in the season. And right now, let's see. The Knicks also have a road trip, although they have to play 4 of the next 5 within the Eastern Conference. They have the Wizards, Hawks, Heat, Hornets, and Celtics, with the Hornets being the only home game. Now, as far as what's going to be happening with their coaching situation, now I've heard that Kenny Atkinson is being connected to that Knicks job. A lot of people don't know this, but Kenny Atkinson used to be an assistant coach with the Knicks many years ago. So let's see exactly how Tweedledum and Tweedledee, also known as James Dolan and Leon Rose, decide to work this thing out with their coaching search. As far as Major League Baseball is concerned, it's nice to see that the Yankees are still in Major League's regular season form, because they continue to lose guys to the injured list. We now know that Aaron Judge has a fracture, or, if not an all-out break in one of his ribs. So now he's going to be out between 2 and 3 weeks. Giancarlo Stanton also has an injury, so he might be out, about a month or so? It's gotten to the point where the Yankees lineup has basically resembled a MASH unit right now. And Luis Severino, he already underwent Tommy John surgery, so he's gone for the entire season. Aaron Hicks, who got hurt last year in the Red Sox game in August, he wound up undergoing right elbow surgery. He's not going to be back for... I doubt he's going to be back for this season. Let's put it this way. Although they say that he might be ready for big league games in either June, July, or August. Let's see exactly what happens with Aaron Hicks here, because Tommy John surgery on a position player is very, very tricky, because instead of pitching, he has to use his left hand to hit every single time. So let's see exactly what happens here. James Paxton, we already know that he already underwent a surgery known as a microscopic lumbar discectomy to remove a paradiscal cyst. So word has it he may be back either in May or June. Now, the latest to be put on the injured list is Gary Sanchez because he hurt his back. Word has it that he might be able to return this Friday for a preseason game against the Tigers. So let's see exactly what happens there. And as for Stanton, he has a grade 1 strain of the right calf, but he might be ready by April. So let's see exactly what happens. As far as the Mets are concerned, well, the record doesn't show it, but the Mets really do have a solid season, a solid preseason that they have going for here. Just recently, Jody Familia wound up pitching in a game, and also Dylan Betances wound up pitching in a game, and his start was very, very shaky. He only pitched a third of an inning, and he wound up giving up, if I'm not mistaken, 4 walks. Now, as far as who on the Mets is on the injured list, I hear that Seth Lugo wound up, Seth Lugo fractured his pinky toe, and fortunately he was able to enter the game, and he pitched a scoreless inning, so no harm, no foul. For the record, the Mets are officially going to open the season 2 weeks from Thursday, at home against the Washington Nationals, while the Yankees officially open their season 2 weeks from Thursday in Baltimore. And I already can't wait. This is going to be a really interesting Major League Baseball season. Now, as far as what's going on in college basketball, well, the guys over at St. John's wound up ending the season on a really positive note, as they wound up ending their season with a victory against Marquette. Seton Hall, which just a few days ago had first place in the Big East Conference to themselves, unfortunately fell to third place in the conference after losing their last 2 games of the season. So now Seton Hall has to be the number 3 seed, and they have to be forced to share the conference regular season title with Villanova and Creighton. Creighton's going to be the number 1 seed, and Villanova is going to be the number 2 seed. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I just heard that Hector called in, so we're going to see if he's going to be joining us anytime soon. Is that him? Yep, that's him. We got the thumbs up from Kenny. Go ahead, Hector. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead. All right, much better. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead. I think we might be having a little trouble with the connection. Hector, we hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jamie.
Hey. Go right ahead.
Oh, I wanted to say, let me ask you something, because what were you talking about before? Were you talking about Tom Brady may going to the 49ers?
No, I haven't discussed Tom Brady yet, but that's been one of the rumors that's been going on for quite a while now, that he would go to San Francisco. The 49ers were his favorite team growing up, and he was a huge Joe Montana fan. So don't be surprised if you see Brady wind up playing close to his San Mateo, California home and be a member of the 49ers.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Should he stay loyal to the Patriots and retire as a Patriot? Just like, what's his name? Manning. Manning, Eli Manning. The quarterback from the Dolphins. There have been quarterbacks that have just retired from their teams because they know they just want to be related to that team.
Yeah.
Because, I forgot the guy's name, the quarterback from the Dolphins.
You mean Marino?
Yeah, Dan Marino. The Minnesota Twins were trying to go after him for one more year, and he didn't want to go because he wanted to retire as a Dolphin.
You mean the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, that one.
And this is the first that I've heard about Dan Marino drawing interest from the Vikings.
They wanted him for 1 year, and he didn't want to go because he wanted to retire as a Dolphin.
And it's a good thing that he did. He would have looked really strange in purple.
So, and then there's your favorite team and my favorite team, the Brooklyn Nets, getting rid of Atkinson.
Yeah, Kenny Atkinson wound up getting fired just a couple of days ago.
Now,
supposedly it was because he didn't want to coach Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant anymore. Was he scared of two high maintenance guys and he wanted no part of it? I mean, it's gotten to the point where the role of the head coach has changed drastically in professional sports now. It's now gone from being a coach's only locker room to a player's only locker room.
Well, that's the sad part, because when you have, back in the day, you had coaches that ruled with an iron fist and did whatever they want.
Yeah.
Now players are the ones deciding who they want, because you're already hearing Tyrell Lue, that Kyrie Irving likes Tyrell Lue.
Oh, brother.
Okay, so you're already hearing that. And look, don't think that he's the only one. LeBron James is masterful at this. He's been known to go, I want this player, I want this coach. And if he doesn't get what he wants, that's it. What is he going to do? Stop playing? If he signs a 5-year contract, what is he going to do? Stop playing? that you're not going to give it your all if you don't get what you want. I mean, some of these players are getting a bit about themselves, and that's not right. But was he afraid of coaching Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, even though Kevin Durant supposedly wanted the next coach
Mm-hmm.
on an email that he sent on Instagram or something of that nature, that's why he wanted to come to the Brooklyn Nets, because of him. And it was a mutual agreement. It wasn't that he got fired supposedly. It was supposedly a mutual agreement that he just didn't want to go. Now, maybe he just likes to coach young players. Just
Yeah.
because he really did well when there was no star on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they're going, well, I heard this great one, him going to the Knicks.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
Is everybody going to the New York Knicks?
No.
Now, I hate this. Spike Lee said it best. Spike Lee said it best. It's not the team. It's not the players that I dislike or I'm having an argument with. I love the team. It's the owner that I'm fighting with. And there's a distinction with that. Loves the team. He loves the Knickerbockers, but dislikes the owner, or is having a fight with the owner. And Charles Oakley, I think he said it best too. Why isn't the league stepping in and going after Dolan?
You know why the league is not stepping in? Because there's no catastrophic situation that's affecting the team. It would have to take something really, really, really catastrophic. Anything aside from what's going on right now in order for management or in order for NBA management to step in.
Actually, it is, because right now he's hurting basketball. He's hurting his own team.
Damn right he's hurting his own team.
Because of the bad publicity, you got Leon Rose going in there saying, okay, I can bring in Chris Paul, which I don't understand that maneuver, bringing in Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is not coming to the Knicks. Forget about it.
Because let's say he does on a trade. Well, you've got these picks and you've got these young guys on the team. Why would you want to? Then you want to try to bring in veterans again. What is it that you really want to? Everybody got their own thing in their head on what they really want to do with the team.
Or everyone.
Do you want to go young and just kind of the way the Brooklyn Nets did? Or do you want to start going, all right, you know what? Forget the team. We got to win now. Let's bring in veterans. Let's go into the playoffs. Let's try to win a championship. And then the hell with everything. Because Chris Paul is not going to do it.
Trading away a couple of young pieces and draft picks for Chris Paul is the single stupidest thing that any general manager can try to do now. Leon Rose I would like to think that Leon Rose is a smart guy because he's got his list of clients, or he had his list of clients for a reason.
Because like I said, some people may hate the New York Knicks, but do you hate the management or do you hate the players or both? Like I said, Spike Lee said it best. I love my New York Knickerbockers, but I'm having a fight with management. I'm having a fight with Dolan.
Hector, I hate to tell you this, but there's no hate for the Knicks right now, because if there was, they would have won about 5 to 10 championships in a row. You know who people hate? They hate the Yankees. They hate the New England Patriots. They hate the Lakers. Do you think anybody is hating the Atlanta Hawks?
No.
There is no hate for the Hawks or the Knicks or the Cavaliers. There is simply ridicule.
What I mean by hate, or should I say the word dislike?
There isn't even dislike. They're being laughed at. These teams are being laughed at.
But let me explain. Let me explain what I mean. You ready? Okay, if I say to you, do you like the New York Knicks?
No, I can't stand them.
Okay, why can't you stand them?
I can't stand them because, one, they've got all of these talented young players who are in this league for a reason, yet they have zero clue how to protect a lead, how to come from behind to win, how to defend, specifically the three-point shot, and that's on the court. Off the court, they have a piece of slime who for the last almost 25 years has done nothing but run that once proud flagship franchise into the ground.
So what you're saying is that you're okay with the players. It's management.
The players are not the problem. Management is the problem.
Okay, because sometimes, I know that there's problems with players, and the Knicks, they do what they do. You can't blame them for that. They try their best, and they do what they do best, which is screw up a lot, and then they'll just screw up. But you can't hate the players. You could only hate management, and that's what I'm getting at, and that's what Spike Lee said, which is good, which is a true thing. You gotta dislike management more than the players because the players are playing their hearts out. The players are really trying to play their hearts out. You may not like Frank Nikita, but he's trying to play his heart out. All those players are trying to play their hearts out. Even the 12th guy on the team that you never see, but he must be there for a reason. He must be pretty good to be the 12th guy. He may not play on in the game often, but he must be doing something right in order to be on the team, to be that 12th guy that you never see. But all in all, it's management's problem. Now, not only has he had problems with Charles Oakley, the new one, Spike Lee, and some fans. He's actually thrown some fans because he said, sell the team, and he's become a big baby about that. Now, that's where I say, the league should come in and start telling them something, because you can't keep on saying, okay, I want this guy out of here because he's saying he wants to sell the team. Sell the team, sell the team, sell the team.
I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but I don't think the NBA is going to do anything anytime soon. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example about what happened in the NFL. Many, many years ago, this is going back over 70 years, before the Pittsburgh Steelers became the Steel Curtain, the Steelers were the Knicks of the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. They went 25 years, a quarter century, without a single playoff appearance. Did the NFL ever step in to try and help that franchise? No. It had to their success was, quite frankly, made up by themselves. Now,
but it wasn't about the success. It wasn't about it's how management has treated the fans.
Well, part of it is about the lack of success.
Because James Dolan is throwing out people, because if you're around James Dolan and you say to James Dolan, sell the team, if he gets mad, he'll bar you. And Charles Oakley said that. Spike Lee, he's having problems with Spike Lee, Charles. And fans themselves have been coming out and saying, he threw me out because I said sell the team. So how can you do that?
Well, Spike Lee's situation is different. Spike Lee tried to enter the media locker room, and he's not a member of the media.
I know that, but they've had an agreement for so many years. And like he said, you should have come to me earlier. You should have told me in advance, whatever. But I'm saying there have been fans. There have been actual fans that have said that because I said sell the team, he threw me out of the league, of my seat. He banned me. So I'm surprised there's no action lawsuit going out saying ban, why should he be able to do that? That's like going to a baseball game and saying, you suck, Judd. And then management goes and said, get him because he said you suck.
I'm surprised Fred Wilpon hasn't stooped to that level yet, because Fred Wilpon is another guy who's been really, really sensitive to criticism.
But I have to go back into class.
Okay.
But I will talk to you later, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hector.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye. Now, going back to college basketball, we already have our first set of teams that have qualified for the NCAA tournament. The first team to qualify, San Diego State. Correction. The first team to qualify actually was Utah State, which wound up winning the Mountain West tournament when they upset San Diego State with a three-point shot with 2 seconds left. And then after that, we had Belmont University, the Bruins, out of Nashville, who won the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. And then just yesterday, Bradley University became the third team when they won the Missouri Valley. So we've got 3 teams that we know of that have already qualified for NCAA tournament spots. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on with the conference tournaments. We know the Big East tournament is going to start in a couple of nights. St. John's is going to be the number 9 seed, and they're going to play Georgetown, which is the 8 seed. And the winner of that game is going to go up to face Creighton in the quarterfinals. And I would not want to be Georgetown or St. John's when that quarterfinal game takes place. Let's see here. Oh, if I'm not mistaken, the next of the conference tournaments is supposed to be, yep, here we are right now. The Colonial Athletic Association, another local school, Hofstra, known as the Pride. They're 8 minutes away from going to the championship game as they have a 20-point lead on Delaware, 63-43. And they also started the Mid-American Conference tournament today as 3 first-round games are taking place. Oh, that's going to do it for that, folks. Now, just yesterday, I wound up seeing a little bit of the XFL, the game that took place between Tampa and Los Angeles. I'm telling you, I'm getting more and more surprised by the quality of play that is going on in that league. And some of the rules that they have for point after touchdowns, this is definitely something that the NFL should try and look into. At least try to throw or run an extra point into the end zone for a score. And as far as what else is going on in the XFL, I see that my friend Lynn just sent me an instant message. Speaking of the XFL, they had some action take place over the weekend. I'm going to see if I can find you what's been going on in the XFL. Here we are. 27 days till WrestleMania. And if I'm not mistaken, I wonder where WrestleMania is going to be. If I'm not mistaken, I think WrestleMania is going to be held in Los Angeles at the LA Coliseum. For that night. Here we are. They're in Tampa. They're in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Very nice. And I've already seen some reporters' notes that there's some argument over what should and should not be the main event for WrestleMania. You know, Lynn, if you want to call in, the phone lines are open, 718-727-0143, and we could probably carry on the conversation then. Now, while WWE has WrestleMania coming up in less than 4 weeks, the NWA is going to have the return of the Crockett Cup taking place next month in College Park, Georgia. For those wrestling fans who may not be familiar with the NWA, the Crockett Cup is the tournament that is held for every tag team in the NWA. There was a time when the Crockett Cup was a very prestigious cup, but then it ceased to exist after about 3 or 4 years. So now, after a 30-year absence, they finally decided to bring the Crockett Cup back into fruition. And if you've seen anything that's been going on with the NWA lately, it has been really, really interesting. Almost every match has been held at the old GPB studios in Atlanta. And if I'm not mistaken, Kenny just gave me the thumbs up. I think we have Lynn on the phone. Are you there, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Hi, Lynn. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Now, tell me more about what's going to happen with WrestleMania. Have they decided any matches yet?
Well, there are a couple thus far. It's been set that the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch will face Shayna Baszler.
Tell me more about Shayna Baszler, because...
Oh, man, she is one dangerous woman. I mean, if you thought Asuka was dominant, Shayna ran roughshod through NXT's women's division. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, she had 2 title reigns. I think it was, I forget the combined total reigns. But she ran roughshod on almost every woman in that division up until Rhea Ripley beat her for the belt late last year. Speaking of which, Rhea Ripley, who is the women's champion for NXT, she is actually she threw the challenge to Charlotte Flair, who won the Royal Rumble, women's Royal Rumble. So now they're going to go at it.
I see.
And you got to remember, Rhea Ripley has pinned her on 2 occasions, but not in singles matches, but in Survivor Series matches. I think there was another match that was like a triple threat before Survivor Series. So they have not really faced off in singles competition. So this is going to be interesting. And it's going to be the only match that NXT is actually involved as WrestleMania, as part of WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So, because NXT is going to have their own takeover in Tampa the night before.
I see. Now, tell me more about Edge. Because from what I understand, he's entered into a feud. He and his wife have entered into a feud with Randy Orton.
Well, it's inevitable that Edge and Randy Orton are going to go at it at WrestleMania. I mean, Edge had said that he wanted to go out on his own terms his career on his own terms when everyone thought that 9 years ago he was done. So he busted his behind. He is like in the best shape of his life at 46 years old. He looks good.
Wow. But why get Beth Phoenix involved in this?
Well, they wanted to like build the match between Edge and Randy Orton, because a couple weeks ago, storyline Randy Orton injured Edge the night after Royal Rumble, and Beth was coming out like last week to give an update on, and then before she can even say anything, Randy interrupted and just like confronted and berated her. So. And he proceeded to, after she slapped him, he proceeded to RKO her. So.
So now it's going to be. Is it official? Are they definitely meeting each other in WrestleMania?
It will. I think by tonight we'll know. We'll definitely know by tonight.
Okay. By the way, I seem to be noticing a lot more newcomers into WWE lately. There were the two young women that you told me about. Are there any newcomer men that casual fans should know about if they see some matches?
Newcomer, like out of NXT or
either from NXT or maybe from other promotions.
I mean, well, Angel Garza is an interesting one. I mean, Angel Garza, like, who was cruiserweight champion at one point during NXT. He's in there with Raw. I don't know for how long exactly he'll be up with Raw after Andrade was suspended for 30 days, violating the wellness policy. So I'm trying to think who other like has stuck out to me. Well, out of NXT, I would have to say Velveteen Dream is a good one. Velveteen Dream. He's 23, 24 years old. I mean, he's quite an interesting character. I mean, flamboyant. I mean, like he's almost like a mix of the old school into the new school. Like it just really, like if you have to watch him. I mean, you got the Undisputed Era of Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. I mean, of course, you got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, once again, their rivalry has been renewed. I mean,
wow.
Ciampa and Gargano, that rivalry was never really resolved because you got to understand, Ciampa was legitimately hurt. He hurt his neck and was out for several months. So there was nearly no end result. So there was a bit of a halt to that. And so now, after the last takeover, when Gargano cost Ciampa his chance at beating Adam Cole for the NXT title, so we'll see how that goes. And then you have in the NXT UK, I mean, they got a lot of great talent in there. Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm, Walter and his group Imperium, Jordan Devlin. I mean, if you're not watching NXT or NXT UK, it's a definite watch.
Now, which do you feel is the better quality wrestling, WWE or NXT?
Hands down, NXT.
And why is that?
They're like in your face, hard hitting like action. I mean, it's like fast paced. Most of the matches are like fast paced. I mean, I remiss if I missed the two other guys. There are two other guys that I actually watched their rivalry with Keith Lee, who's the current North American champion, and you have Dominik Dijakovic. They had a series of matches where they would forget it. I mean, you will be entertained, especially Keith Lee. For a big man, he can move. Wow.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so now the other matches that are set up are actually the Fiend Bray Wyatt, which I'm a fan of his character, by the way, which is more sadistic than his last character, his old Bray Wyatt self, against John Cena, which I believe, in my opinion, will probably be his last match.
His last match as an actual wrestler, or his last match with the company?
I think this is going to be his last go-around. And then you have... which I can understand why they did it. Goldberg, who is Universal Champion, had Bray Wyatt drop the belt to him, and so Goldberg is going to be facing Roman Reigns for that. And It's almost inevitable that we're going to have AJ Styles versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania as well.
Now, from what I understand, Taker wound up interfering in Styles' previous match and wound up chokeslamming him.
Yeah, he actually they was facing another great I think it was another great talent out of NXT, Aleister Black.
Yeah, tell me about Aleister Black. I don't seem to know this one particularly well.
Oh, he's a striker. I mean, kicks, punches. I mean, his athleticism is amazing. He is actually he's actually married to who is Andrade's manager, Zelina Vega.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and those two had actually had a rivalry in NXT, which they had some pretty good matches then.
I see. Now, how did this rivalry between The Undertaker and the guy that he's going to be facing begin?
Oh, well, AJ he claimed that he was far better than all the other legends. Like, he was like the new Mr. WrestleMania, like better than The Undertaker or something like that. And he just kept poking at him, like, you know, like saying things, doing things. I mean, and then the Super Showdown, Undertaker, like was like a surprise entrant in in a tournament, and he beat AJ Styles for it. But like it's just one. I guess they started leaning towards that in a way. So the AJ basically was was just poking. Like you don't poke the bear, otherwise the bear was gonna fight back. So.
Yeah,
it's inevitable that you know AJ will probably throw the gauntlet down, and obviously maybe Undertaker will accept.
I see. Now, there's been so much conversation regarding when he's finally gonna call it a career. It seems to me like he wants to keep this thing going until he can no longer do it anymore.
I don't have an answer. I thought the last like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I thought he was done. I just didn't think he was going to keep going. I mean, I don't know if he's going to go out with a win. I mean, maybe that's what it is. If it ends up being that Taker wins this one, I think he'll be done. I would like to believe that he'll be done after this.
Now, what other storylines are there that casual fans should be able to keep up with?
Well, you're going to have the Brock Lesnar, who is WWE champion, go after the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre. I think finally Drew McIntyre is getting that big push. I've been wondering why
such a talented and charismatic guy like him has never really gotten a fair shake anywhere he's gone.
Well, the problem is when Drew's first go around in WWE, he was given he tagged him as I guess Vince tagged him as the next big star. I mean, and I think I don't think he was ready. I mean, he was IC champion during that time. I mean, and I guess he needed more experience. That's why he went to TNA, Impact Wrestling, or whatever, went around the other places and made his way back and went to NXT. You know, really made his mark, and then came back to the WWE, officially. I mean, I guess he needed to be more established, and he became more established, and that's why he's far better than he was beforehand the first time around.
Do you think that the direction that WWE is going, now that they're on Fox, not just the Fox network, but occasionally Fox Sports 1 for whatever specials that they have?
Well, WWE Backstage, I've watched here and there. Their viewership has been pretty much not so great. I mean, as of late, I mean they had their lowest ratings in the last episode.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a live show, by the way.
I see.
It's hard to tell. I mean, we need better storylines. We need better product with the main roster. I mean, you look at NXT. NXT has done phenomenal. I mean, with the guys and girls that they have.
Now, aren't WWE and NXT separate now, or are they still?
NXT is now an official brand. They're not known. it's not really the minor leagues anymore. It's not really developmental. The NXT is their own brand, their own entity. They're showing that they're being the superior. They can be the superior to Raw and SmackDown.
Are they owned by WWE?
Of course they are. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. It's interesting. You mentioned before NXT UK. Is there a chance that we can see wrestlers from other countries probably maybe get their own NXT down the road? For example, maybe
Germany,
NXT Canada?
Thrown in there. I heard Germany was thrown in there, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, we don't know if that's actually for sure. I mean, we'll see.
Interesting. So NXT Germany has been getting a bit of a kick.
Well, kind of, sort of, but I really haven't heard much. It's just, NXT UK.
I see. Well, we have about 3.5 minutes to go. Do you have any final words that you want to share with us?
Well, I hope that, I want WrestleMania to be good. I mean, I just don't want anything to be like a letdown. I mean, the pay-per-view last night, Elimination Chamber, it was okay. A lot of people were saying that, it was the worst one. That was not the worst Elimination Chamber. I mean, I think the women's one, but I think the worst one was the ECW version of it. But that's a whole other story, so I'm going to leave it at that. I just hope that WrestleMania this year will be good.
All right. Lynn, excellent job.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad I got to talk to you.
And it was wonderful chatting with you. Can you please send my warmest regards to your uncle for me?
Oh, of course I will. I'll let him know.
Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right, and please, whenever you want, feel free to keep in touch, okay?
I will, definitely.
All right, thanks again. Be well.
Thank you. You too, sweetie. All right, sorry I took up the show, though.
Hey, it's quite all right. You did me a favor. Unfortunately, Hector had to leave because he had to go back to class, but you were able to fill in just as well as he did, if not better.
Thank you
again.
Thanks so much.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, about roughly 2 minutes to go in the show. I just want to acknowledge once again Kenny Graham on the other side of the glass in these last couple of minutes. By the way, if you have a story in the Staten Island sports scene that you want to have told, then we want to know about it. So don't forget to contact us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also see past shows of ours on YouTube, and you can also contact us on Snapchat and Instagram. Once again, that's Facebook and Twitter where you can contact us, and you can see past shows of ours on YouTube. So, as we speak, speaking of WWE, Monday Night Raw is going to have their latest edition, I think about 9 o'clock tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what else is going on in the world of sports. Well, the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils are all playing each other tomorrow. The Nets are going to start their West Coast road trip, their California road trip, with the Lakers tomorrow. And tonight, the Knicks have the Wizards in a battle of have-nots. Anyway, that's going to do it for us, folks. So once again, thanks to Kennedy on the other side of the glass, and thanks to you guys for watching at home. For everyone here, I'm Jamie. We hope to see you next Monday night. Good night, everyone.